I like making money. I've been rich. I've been poor. Rich is better. A lot better. But he just gives me more options. That's all it does. Getting rich doesn't inspire me. There's other things that inspire me. So whatever it was that you just tapped into when we were talking a second ago, that is the part of you who is inspired. And that's the part I think you have to keep tapping back into. I think you have to keep tapping back into what inspires me, what juices me. And so thank you for letting me be a part of that. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to talk for a second because I told you one of my heroes is a guy named Warren Buffett. I'm going to give you some quotes from Warren Buffett. They'll come up here on the monitor. Critical thinking time. Here's what Warren Buffett said about critical thinking time. All man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. An investor who is encouraged by his advisors to do a deal responds much as a teenage boy who is encouraged by his father to have a normal sex life. It's not the push he needs. I think that's true. Here's what Warren Buffett has to say about conflicting thoughts. Why shouldn't we invest? Do all your thinking before you do the deal. Imagine all the things that could go wrong because they probably will. Optimism is the enemy of the rational investor. Now, look, I'm all in favor of intention. I love The Secret. But at the end of the day, what's getting taught is not the law of attraction. The law of attraction says you move towards it. You can't sit in a room all by yourself, and you can't sit in a room all by yourself, lock all the doors, and somehow presto bingo, hocus pocus, there's going to be a big old pile of money or a beautiful spouse sitting next to you. I mean, that ain't going to happen. Come on. We were teaching in London, and this woman came up to me and said, it was this business mastery program that I teach, where I teach critical skills and tools, and it's always 2 sessions. There's a first session, and then a little bit of time goes by, and everybody goes and does work, and then we do another session. And we were teaching, and she came up and I said, what are you going to work on in between? She said, I'm going to work on winning the London lottery. I said, well, how are you going to do that? She said, well, I'm going to buy lottery tickets, and I'm going to sit around and meditate. And I'm going to, with the law of attraction, I'm going to win a 10 million pound lottery. I said, look, her name was Sylvia. I said, Sylvia, that's a great plan. Can we have a plan B just in case? I mean, because I do believe in the law of attraction. I really do. But I also believe that there's a big difference in the skills and tools it takes to make money and the skills and tools it takes to keep it. Those are 2 entirely different sets of skills. I know a lot about making money, and this time around I'm learning how to keep it. This is my 3rd fortune. I want to avoid pissing those things away. I mean, it takes a lot of work to do that. So this one I've kept for about 12, 13 years, and I'm happy. I'm doing things very differently now than I used to. I have a different set of rules. But you got to have conflicting thoughts, and optimism is not your friend. When you're dealing with money, optimism is not your friend. Warren Buffett on intellect versus emotions, he says, ignorance, when mixed with greed, is the stuff financial disasters are made of. A public opinion poll is no substitute for thought. He's right. Here's what Warren Buffett says on the subject of rules. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, this stuff is very powerful. This guy clearly knows what he's talking about. I mean, if we're going to emulate somebody, let's emulate somebody that's eating his own cooking, right? Does that make sense? I mean, when you think about it, there's 2 kinds of hay. There's hay before it's been through the horse. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are grazing on the hay that's already been through the horse. And then they're wondering why they're not getting big and plump and fat. They're eating the wrong thing. Look, if you're going to model somebody, make sure you model somebody that's actually doing what they teach. Speed. I love this. Watch this. Here's what Warren Buffett says about speed. We adopt the same attitude one might find when looking for a spouse. It pays to be active and open-minded, but it does not pay to be in a hurry. You cannot produce a baby in a month by getting 9 women pregnant. Now, this is true. This is true. I like this. Stupid and small. Here's what he says. In my world, little things really do matter. An undisciplined mind in small things will also be an undisciplined mind in large things. Look, either you're intellectually rigorous or you're not. Either you know what you're, if you're stupid in small things, you're going to be stupid in big things. Let me talk for a second about mastery and about core competence. In fact, if you look back at our roto block, here's what he says about core competence. This is Warren Buffett. The greatest personal fortunes in this country weren't built on a portfolio of 50 companies. That's the Noah's Ark way of investing. They were built on one wonderful business, almost without exception. When they strayed from that wonderful business that made them rich, they ended up losing money. That's what Warren Buffett has to say about core competence. What don't I see? Here's what Warren Buffett says. A pin lies in wait for every bubble. And when the two eventually meet, a new wave of investors learn some very old lessons. I think it's absolutely true. Look, if you're going to listen to somebody, don't listen to me. Don't believe me. Let's believe somebody who started with zero and in his lifetime created $45 billion of real live money. Last year, $100 million a week. A week! Clearly, he knows something and is doing something the rest of us aren't. Look at Roto Block. Remember Roto Block? You remember that? That little engine that could? Let's think about our investment. Whether you put down $0 or $1,000 or $5, I don't really care. I'd be curious how many people said that they would do 0. Let me see those hands. Good for you. How many people said they'd do something? All right, good for you. This is a learning opportunity. Let's look at Roto Block in light of what we just talked about. Did we have any thinking time? No. Did we have clarity on the problem? No. Did we have any conflicting thoughts? Well, if you said yes, you had to invest, you had no conflicting thoughts. You didn't look at what could go wrong. You just said, holy cow, look at this great idea. You used your emotions versus your intellect. Was Roto Block within your core competence? If you said yes, what in the heck do you know about engines? What in the heck do you know about startup businesses? What in the heck do you know about India and China? What in the heck do you know about ethanol? I'm going to tell you right now, the deal that I showed you is a real deal, only it wasn't sent to me. It was sent to somebody else, and they sent it to me to use as an example when I teach. You should not. Everybody look at me. Look at me. Whatever you do, do not go out and buy this stock. Don't do that. I'm using it as an example. I don't know whether this is a good deal or a bad deal. All I know is I don't know anything about engines. I don't know anything about manufacturing. I don't know anything about automobiles. I don't know anything about China and India. I don't know anything about ethanol or any hydrogen. I don't know nothing about nothing. So therefore, I'm not going to even look at this deal because I have rules. Did you ask yourself the question, what don't I see? Most people don't. Most people don't. And so they wind up being stupid in small things. Well, Keith, it's only $50. Oh, well, Keith, it was only $500. Stupid in small things. Does that make sense? Good. There's a very famous football coach in the United States, no longer alive. His name is Paul Bear Bryant. What was it? Roll Tide. Crimson Tide. He taught it. He was coach at Alabama. Prior to that, he won national championships. He was very, very well known. Very, very smart guy. Born in almost poverty. In fact, born in poverty. And he became literally one of the most, and I think the most revered coach in the world. Paul Bear Bryant said one time, on any given Saturday, I can take my team and beat your team. Or I could take your team and beat my team. That's serious. That's how good a coach he was. Paul Bear Bryant died a few years ago. And when they found him and looked in his billfold, they found what I am about to read you. He carried this around with him for 40 years. For 40 years, he read it every day. Here's what it said. This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or I can use it for good. What I do today is very important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving something in its place that I've traded for it. I want it to be gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not forget the price I paid for it. That, to me, is extraordinary. This is the beginning of a new day. I will suggest to you that you will not find what you're looking for. What is required of you is not a search. What is required of you is a decision. A decision on who it is I want to create. What are the skills and tools that I need to learn? Mediocrity hates decision. Masters embrace decision. If you've learned something over the last 2 hours, if you've made any notes, if this is what I was able to do for you in 2 hours, imagine what I could do for you in 100. If you need help and skills, this is the beginning of the new day. All I can tell you is I appreciate your allowing me to be here today. I appreciate the opportunity that Harv has given all of us to continue our education. And I truly, truly, truly hope that you decide that you will continue your business education with us. I will be here all through lunch. I will be here all this afternoon. I would love to answer your questions, and I am grateful for the opportunity to have played a part in your education. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Keith Cunningham.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.